Hi everybody, my name is Barb Steinberg and I am a parent coach to parents of tween and teen girls, and I also am a teen life coach to girls as well, and I speak on teen girl issues. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a common topic that I hear from so many parents over the course of 30 years of working with them, and that is, how do I get my daughter to open up to me? I'd like her to share more and tell me more about her life, not just like, oh, today at school is fine, algebra's fine, horseback riding's fine. So how do we get them to open up? Because as they are distancing and separating, we are also still trying to maintain that connection with them. And they want it as well, but we might have to work a little bit harder, or a little bit more strategically is probably a better way to say it, to get them to open up. So here are a few ideas that I shared with a parent that I was meeting with recently for parent coaching. She actually had a very introverted daughter, and actually this mom that I was talking to was very introverted as well. So she really could understand what it was like when she was a teenager and how she really didn't want to open up that much either. And we talked a little bit about why that was when she was a teen. Why didn't she open up and tell her mother more? And one of the reasons was, she said, I didn't really even know the words to say. I didn't really know how. And that's very common, because in the frontal lobe is where language lives, and that's the last thing to develop in adolescents' brains. It comes on board as late as 25. So they can struggle with language and how to communicate and express themselves, and we can help them with that. So I'm going to give you some ideas. And I think she also mentioned that she felt like what she would have shared wasn't really important anyway, so why bother? So that was really eye-opening, because that let her know that would be a great question to ask her daughter. Do you sometimes feel like the things that are going on in your world or your day aren't really that important, so why bother sharing them? And if the answer is yes, or maybe, or probably, I don't know, those are all kind of a variation of yes. So we can go ahead and let our daughters know, listen, I want to know about the most mundane thing. You can talk to me about what you had for lunch. You can tell me what, Emma said to you in the hallway. Whatever it is, no matter how small, I'd love to hear it. So it just reinforces the message that you're interested, you're curious, you'd love to know more about her. And she can kind of feel that energy from you. It's not, if she feels that it's needy and I want more information and I want to know all the details of your life, that's when they can kind of back off a little bit, because they are supposed to be creating separation from us in order to be able to leave the house and become, a self-sufficient adult. But if she can feel kind of that lightheartedness and the genuine curiosity and openness that you have, like, oh, I'd love to hear anything about your life, no matter how small, then that can really help them to feel comfortable in sharing the little unimportant stuff, like the new Taylor Swift album, or their really important stuff. One of her friends, ignored her at lunch today. So let me give you some other ideas that I gave to this mom about how to get our daughters to open up. And I just have to say that I'm sure many of you out there who have daughters also have sons. I use all of these ideas on the teenager that I have living in my house, who happens to be a boy. And I've got to tell you that they work. So, and I have an extrovert, and so I know it's easier, but for those of you that have introverts, it can feel more challenging. So that's why I love talking about these ideas that actually work for our girls that aren't necessarily, it's not their nature to open up and share a lot. So the first is that mom talked about that they go on walks together, and we talked about how to bring her daughter into the decision making around that, to empower her, to let her mom know, is now a good time to take a walk? How long do you want the walk to be? And if she only wants it to be 10 minutes, then we've got to really be okay with that, so that she can feel like when I'm invited to take a walk, or if I ask to take a walk, it can be around my needs. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute, question and answer session. And to just be really grateful for those 10 minutes that we get, if that's all she wants to do today in this walk. So that can be a really sweet time. I use it all the time with my own teenager. After dinner, we go for a 15-minute walk in our neighborhood, and something magical happens with that walk and talk side by side, not looking in the eyes, where they can really feel more comfortable opening up. I'm also going to share with you some ideas on questions to ask to get them to open up a little bit more. Another idea is dinner, or some kind of activity where it's just the two of you. I have found over the years, I use this myself as well, going to dinner with my teenager just one-on-one One-on-one is really a special time. So there's two parts to this. If they have siblings, it's nice to feel special and unique and kind of, separated from the family, so that I'm getting this special attention one-on-one that's hard to come by if you have siblings. And then secondly, taking them out of the house to neutral territory. Something I think can happen to us in the house, as parents, all we see is everything that needs to be done, and we're nagging and we're reminding and we're picking up and we're tired, and it can feel a little crunchy. And then teens at home, all they see are book bags and notebooks and books and computers, and here's all the stuff I've got to do, and I've got to clean my room and blah blah blah. So taking them out of the house and going to have ice cream or for a smoothie or a juice, or going for breakfast or for dinner, that time just to sit down at a table one-on-one, again, something magical can happen, and they can begin to feel a little bit more comfortable and opening up and responding to your cues to open up. So one of the ways that we can get them to open up is by sharing parts of ourselves with them, letting them know what it was like for us when we were a teenager. Not too much, or they might, roll their eyes and say, okay, I've heard about, 1,000 stories of your teenage years, and I don't need to hear anymore. But, if she happens to share, if you're getting a sense, maybe there's something going on in her friendships, or she said one sentence about a friendship that she's struggling with, that might be a window of opportunity for you to share something about your friendships growing up when you were a teenager. You could also share something about your friendships now and what you're struggling with, because it helps her to see, like, I'm not alone. My mom gets me, or dad understands me. She kind of sees where I'm coming from. So sharing little personal tidbits can certainly be helpful. Taking her outside of the home into a neutral territory is helpful. Asking questions such as, this mom was saying, oh, I ask questions, and she's like, fine, I don't know, whatever. And so you can start by asking, this is one of my favorites, I use it all the time in coaching, and that is on a scale of 1 to 10. How good is school going right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you liking your English teacher? Scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling about your social life and your friendships? Scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your friendship with Ella? So it's a quick and easy way for you to kind of get your pulse, get the pulse of what's going on. It gives you some information of where you can go with a line of questioning. You know your daughter better than anybody, so you know when to back off. If you can feel, I've asked a question and I can feel her resisting, getting a little impatient, that tells you that needs to be the last question. And if you sense that and she answers that last question, then you can say, thank you so much for telling me a little bit about that. I really love hearing about it, and I appreciate you sharing. So anytime we can say thank you, that makes them feel good, and it just reinforces them to share more when they feel comfortable. So going back, that scale of 1 to 10 can be really useful. Also percentages. So what percentage of your friendship with Ella feels good and what percentage doesn't feel so good? She's telling you, I hate soccer, I don't want to play anymore. What percentage of soccer do you enjoy? What percentage do you not enjoy? And when you get those numbers, then you can dig a little deeper and find out, okay, tell me about that 60% that you don't like. Like, can you give me 3 things that you don't like about soccer? And again, you've got to lead with curiosity. If you're leading with judgment, if you have an agenda and she can feel it, my mom and dad really want me to play soccer, they're going to be so disappointed if I don't, which may not necessarily be true, but she might believe it to be true. So if she believes it to be true, it is her reality. And so we might need to say, like, hey, listen, I need you to know, honestly, truthfully, it's okay with your mom and I if you don't play soccer. We're cool with it. We're going to love you anyway. We're going to think you're awesome anyway. And we can certainly find something else that you might like to do if you want to. So that scale, the percentages can definitely work. What percentage of the week would you like you and I to hang out one-on-one? What percentage of your day after school, if you have 6 hours, what percentage do you want to be rest, chill, downtime, phone time? So it's a really quick and easy way to get information, without creating, some long dialogue that might be a little overwhelming. And then the last idea that I shared with this mom, again, she had a more introverted daughter, but this could really work well with extroverts as well. And that is using a journal. And this mom's like, yeah, we used to use one and we would pass it back and forth. I really should bring that out. And this mom was saying, I really want to get to more meaty information from my daughter. Like, I'm only getting like the bare minimum of like, school's fine, you know, lunch was fine. And she's like, I think there might be stuff going on in her friendships or her social life, or and I don't know any of that, and I'd like to know. So we were playing with the idea of, with this journal, that might be the safe place to ask a more like a riskier, more vulnerable question. So and that can feel safer to be able to write it down instead of speak it out loud and look at someone and share it all, and then they can pass it back and forth. And talking about, you know, for every time that your daughter is vulnerable in this journal, you might want to be as well. And vulnerable for you might be saying thank you for sharing. I love knowing more about you. I feel closer to you, or sharing a personal story from your life. So if you're wanting your daughter to be vulnerable and opening up, we have to be willing to be vulnerable as well and share with her. So if you find this video helpful, I hope that you will share it with your friends. I hope that you'll reach out if you want some parent coaching. I've got plenty of online courses for parents about connection, communication, girls' friendships, teaching our girls to love themselves. So check that out on my website, barbsteinberg.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.